I was right to not expect to stay home today, because here is day 3 of best buddying my Eternatus and using the gold bottle cap. Yeah, I got called into work today, so that's why I have so much distance walked. Otherwise I would have just stayed home, you know? Well, that's not true. I would have gone to Best Buy, bought an external hard drive because I'm out of space. Today, I also did get this shiny Pikachu. Is it just me, or does this costume in particular, Pikachu's yellow body with the purple hat, remind anyone else of Fredbear? Har, 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 har. Anyways, take a look at what I got last night after I ended. I got a fully evolved Alpha Magnezone. What's amazing is, even though it wasn't caught on the clip, I caught it first ball. Now, there are pros and cons to that being the case. The pro is that that's the rarest one out of the line. Out of getting Magnemite, Magneton, or Magnezone, Magnezone is the rarest one. That's the pros. The cons is getting Alpha Magnezone first is the worst choice. Because now, if I get another Alpha Magnezone, well, I don't need it. But if I were to get 2 Alpha Magnemites, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I got the pre-evolution, I could at least evolve it up. But if I get another Alpha Magnezone, well, it's like, now I don't need it. I guess one of the pros would also be it saved me a Thunderstone. I don't know if it evolves by Thunderstone in this game. Whew. Anyways. So now I am only missing 2 alphas in my alpha living decks. A Magnemite and a Magneton. And that's it. After that, I will be done. And I thought about what I'll do next. Like, what's the next big Pokemon project I'll do on my own? And, well, I think the next thing I'll do will still involve this game. Because I just can't get enough of this game. I've been playing Legends Arceus non-stop lately. Mostly because the alpha grinding. Patience for space-time distortions. Because there is something I want to get. Not a shiny, but also another alpha. I want to get at least an alpha Rowlet or Dartrix with the adamant nature. So that I could send that alpha to a different game and evolve it into a regular Decidueye, not Hisuian. According to Google, adamant is the best nature for Decidueye. I'm not too sure why that's the case, because I don't really know much about natures. But just for the sake of the challenge, you know? I want me an alpha Decidueye with the quote-unquote best nature, but not Hisuian. And currently, this is the only game to get alpha Rowlet or Dartrix. So that's probably going to be my goal after this. Get me an adamant nature alpha Rowlet or Dartrix. And if I'm crazy, or if I'm lucky, get a shiny alpha in the process. That'd be nice to also get. I do want that, but not as much as the nature on a regular one. Call me crazy, I like regular Decidueye better than the shiny. But I'm not saying I don't like the shiny, I just prefer the regular. Just like how I prefer the regular Greninja Blue to the shiny Greninja Black. I'm not saying I don't like shiny Greninja. I'm saying I prefer the regular over the shiny. You know what? Here's a hot take. Shiny Charizard, specifically shiny Mega Charizard X, I like that shiny. Call me crazy, I like that shiny. The green with the blue flames and the hints of red on the wings, I like that shiny. Could it be a better shiny? Yeah. But for what it is, I like it. I actually like that shiny. Is it my favorite shiny? No. Could it have been better? Yes. But for what it is, I like it. I do like it. I'm probably the only person on the planet who actually likes shiny Mega Charizard X. And I think the shade of green chosen for it is just right. If it was a if it was a bright neon green, I don't think that would work. If it was any darker, I also don't think that would work. Well, actually, maybe a hint brighter would have been nice, but oh well. We got what we got. Now, am I saying that I prefer shiny Mega Charizard X over the regular? The regular Charizard Mega X? Wow, I can't even speak. Do I prefer the shiny over the Mega? Or the regular is what I'm trying to say. No. No, because the black and blue, come on, that's absolutely sick. Okay, so I had quite the scare today. So, after work today, because today I went into the new job. After work today, I was on my way home, and I realized I forgot my wallet at work. Like, actually, I forgot my wallet at work. Thankfully, by then, I didn't go too far yet. I didn't get on the highway yet, so I had to turn around and grab it. Because I'm not going there tomorrow. So I need to grab my wallet. So yeah, luckily I didn't drive too far away just yet, so I had to turn around. I was at a I was at a light. I was at a traffic light, it was a red light. It's a 2-lane road. I wasn't about to turn right to U-turn. Because if I were to turn right, then I would have to go pretty far before I'm able to turn around. So my only option was go straight and then do some sort of turn. Alright, so the light turns green. It's a 2-lane road, remember that. And because roads in Toronto are rather packed, there are cars parked on the right side of the lane, so I had to signal left to turn to the left lane. But the car behind me on the other lane just couldn't decide to stop and let me go or just drive forward. There's a fly on my screen, like an actual bug in real life. So yeah, the car behind me couldn't decide whether to let me pass, let me enter the lane, or drive ahead. Ultimately, the car decided to drive ahead. So then I changed to the left lane, and then there was a turn right there, or just like 2 meters away, a left turn. So I could turn in there and then quickly drive in, and then drive back out, make a right turn, and then head straight back to where work was. So there I was. I got into the left lane, and then I was waiting for the cars to pass on the other side of the road so that I can make a left turn. And then I heard sirens behind me. I'm thinking, oh shit, did I do something wrong? So here I am, scared out of my life, like, oh my goodness, did I do something wrong? I hear sirens behind me. I look in the mirror, they're approaching. How am I supposed to tell the police when they ask me for license and registration? Officer, actually, I forgot my wallet at work. I was actually just turning around to go and grab it. Like, how do I explain that? I'm for sure getting a ticket. I may even get the car towed. So, I was thinking that the sirens were trying to get me to pull to the side, so I do the left turn. I turn to the street on the left side of the road, thinking, okay, I just won't block any traffic on the road, so I'll turn in here. if the cops are really after me. And then, when I pull into the road, I turn my head, like, I turn as I'm looking. What? I turn my head as I'm driving. And then I see in the mirror that it's not a police car, it's a fire truck. Not a fire truck, but a fire vehicle. Not a full-blown red fire truck. It was one of those fire vehicles that looked like a police cruiser. Or more like a police SUV. So, phew! Thank goodness. Those were not the police trying to pull me over. But damn, I tell you, was I nervous. I thought I did something wrong, you know? I had to change to the left lane because there were cars parked on the side of the road. And then I signaled to make a left turn, like not even do a U-turn, to go into another street and then actually turn around, drive into one of the building parking lots or whatever, and then actually turn around. Man, I don't trust myself to do U-turns. I don't do U-turns. And I'm thinking, did I do something wrong? I hear sirens behind me. I look in the mirror. Oh, the sirens are approaching my direction. But thankfully, no. It was just a fire vehicle putting on their horn so that they can actually get to where they need to go faster. Is it just me, or does anyone else get the gut feeling that sometimes these law enforcement, either police or firefighters, they put on their sirens just to drive past a red light? Like, literally just to drive to a red light. There's no emergency to get to, they just don't want to wait for the red light. So they flick on their sirens, and they just drive right past, and then they immediately turn it off. Anyone else get the feeling they do that? Surely that can't be allowed, right? Anyway, so there's that story. There's another story that is, well, not that great. Oh, so today was hot. Today was very hot. Very, very hot. I think today was like, I don't know, just shy of 40 degrees. Very, very, very hot. And it's gonna be rather hot these next couple days as well. We got quite a heat wave on us right now. And it's not just Canada, too. I'm sure US, I'm pretty sure Asia, Europe. I think Europe, I think my dad told me at dinner, Europe was like 50 degrees. So hot, 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 hot. So yeah, today was pretty hot. Even just standing in the parking lot with no direct sunlight shining down on us. Yeah, it was still really hot in there too. Imagine parking your car outside today. So today, pretty much today is really hot. Hoping to come into my nice air-conditioned house. I come in and I'm thinking, why is it so warm in the house? It's not as hot as outside, but why is the home so warm? I looked at the thermometer, the digital thermometer. It says the room temperature is 27 degrees. But it's supposed to be set to 21 degrees. So I don't know if anyone else's air conditioning has this problem. Sometimes, especially during summer, obviously not during winter, sometimes when it's especially hot and we blast the AC, we set it up nice and high, or rather we set it nice and low. There's some sort of AC component outside that actually freezes up. Ice actually builds on it. Some sort of component outside connected to the AC unit. Something outside actually freezes, actually has ice forming. And we can't use the air conditioning until that ice melts. So we have to turn off the AC, we have to turn off the air conditioning until that ice melts before we can turn it back on. and this is a problem, right? So currently in the house, we have no air conditioning, and it almost seems like the plan is, for the rest of tonight, there will be no air conditioning. Ah, shit. You know, sometimes I really do think, if the apocalypse ever happens, if society as we know ever fell, whether to zombies, or the rapture, or what have you, if the apocalypse ever happens, we are not surviving. We are not surviving. If the hot summer heat doesn't kill us, the cold winter temperatures will, or the lack of clean water. We take so much for granted. Clean water coming out of our taps. You know, I actually wonder how animals survive out in the wild. Because they don't have access to clean water. They drink out of rivers and ponds. But I'm sure animals outside, like wild animals, have evolved to, you know, be able to handle all the bacteria and germs that are in those big bodies of water. But not us. Not us humans. If anything, we humans have evolved to only accept clean water. If the apocalypse happens, we can't drink out of rivers and ponds. No, we have to go through a whole process to filter the water, then boil it, then wait for it to cool down before we can drink it. And it's just like, yeah, if the apocalypse ever happens, we are dead. We are gonna drop like flies. Sometimes I think to myself, if the apocalypse ever does happen, worst case, if it's the zombie apocalypse or some sort of other, new apex predator hunting us down, kind of like the aliens in A Quiet Place. Is there even a point to trying to survive? For me, at least, like, is there even a point for me to try to survive, or should I just kill myself? Because I know, even if I try to survive, not only would it be really hard to survive day by day, my chances are also rather slim, like almost zero. No clean water, no air conditioning. You know, folks, up here in the great white north of Canada, it's not survivable up here during winter. If the apocalypse ever happens up here during winter, we take for granted the government handling the snow taking up the roads. Because when there's a big snowstorm, it's the government's job to clear out the roads. Yes, it's our civilians' jobs to clean out our own driveways, but the actual main roads, yeah, the government will shovel all that for us. They have the big vehicles for it. But during an apocalypse, there is no government to do that anymore. You know how crazy high snow gets if you don't shovel it even once? Assuming it's a big storm. Imagine the entire winter. I would not put it past if no one shovels the snow the entire winter season. The snow could be as high up as buildings. Who did that? Did you do that from that far away? I also got McDonald's for lunch today. I did have to walk in the blistering hot heat. I got me a deluxe cheeseburger, I got me a junior chicken, and then I also got me, well, the junior chicken, I got the meal, so I got the small fries and a small drink. Last time I got a medium drink and it was too much. I'm fat enough already, so I got the small drink this time. And then I also saw, for a limited time, 2 pies. 2 pies for like $2 and change, like not even $2, $2.50. So I decided to go for it. I didn't eat all the pies, I didn't eat both. I'm not that fat. I did eat both sandwiches though, and 1 pie. And all the fries and all the drink. God, I'm fat. And they have the strawberry pie back. It's literally just strawberry jam in the McDonald's pie. So I got 1 strawberry pie, which I consumed all on my own. And then I also got one that's apple pie. And then it turns out today, well, like father, like son, because completely separately, my dad also went to McDonald's. And I guess maybe he saw the $2 2 pies as well, because he also brought 2 pies home. So now we have 3. Man, I am tired. Despite today being quiet at work, like literally nothing. I got woken up, I should say, with just enough time to make it there on time. Then again, there wouldn't have been any issues if I arrived late, or even leave early. But I still got there in time, and I still left at the time I was supposed to leave. I could have left early, but at that point it's like, well, why? I could just sit here for an additional hour and make more money. You know, I go home, I'll just sit at home and do the same thing. I am sweating right now because, like I said, no AC. Oh, speaking of which, rest in peace to Wai Ching Ho. She played Madame Bo in the Netflix Daredevil series, and I think that's really all I know her from. Well, I'm sure she did voice act some projects. I wonder what she did. Oh yeah, that's right. She was also in the rest of the Netflix Marvel stuff. Iron Fist, Defenders. Anyways, rest in peace to Wai Ching Ho. I didn't know she technically has the same first name as I do. And you know, speaking of rest in peace to legends, a couple weeks ago, I think just less than 2 weeks ago, it was the 11th anniversary of the passing of Satoru Iwata. That man is still missed to this day, because we clearly see how the gaming industry has turned out since he passed. It's not because he passed, but we can see a stark difference before and after Iwata. You know, my brother-in-law was here for dinner, and I assume he worked today. Since he also wakes up early, after dinner he takes a nap. But he left early, saying, "It's too hot. I can't sleep." Whoops. My mom also rubbed some, like, soothing, refreshing ointment on my back to try to keep me cool. Almost like Vaseline, but Chinese. Mmm. I'm low-key tempted to just sleep in the basement tonight. Because even without AC, the basement is still nice and cool, because that's just how basements are. Well, we have the final episode of the Amazing Digital Circus to go over today, episode 9. This episode came out a month ago. And I actually didn't know that for the theater experience, it was both episodes 8 and 9 put together for an actual, like, theatrical runtime. Even though that theatrical runtime would have only been like an hour and a half. Also, this episode, episode 9, kind of felt more like 2 episodes, just stitched together to be one. Like, this absolutely could have just been split into 2 episodes. And a part of me feels like that probably would have made it better. I'm gonna hold off on talking about it for a couple more minutes, just in case. Because no shame in feeding may want to join in on the conversation. I messaged him telling him I was doing this right now, but he has a life of his own. Well, I don't really have anything else to talk about. Anything in the news lately? So the live action Moana came out not long ago. I never even watched the original, so I don't plan to watch this one. It's been a pretty long time since I've seen a Disney animated princess film. I think the last time I watched one was Frozen 2, but I was already 4 years late to watching that. I never watched Brave, I never watched Moana. I watched the old school stuff. You know, the original good Snow White, Cinderella, Little Mermaid, Mulan. You know, I watched those. I did also watch Tangled and Frozen. I'm amazed Tangled never got a sequel. And I'm not talking about the animated show, I'm talking like a genuine film sequel. Even though Rapunzel without her long golden hair, it's like, well, what stories could you tell? They are making a live action remake, however, but I'm talking like animated. We got a Frozen 2, and we're getting a Frozen 3! Oh, speaking of sequel, it was it was announced that we are indeed getting Hotel Transylvania 5 next year, focusing on Mavis. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna be honest, I only saw the first two films. I Hotel Transylvania 1 is my favorite, you know, out of all the films, and I'm pretty sure I don't even need to watch the other films to say that the first one's my favorite. I saw number 2 and it was eh. It was okay at best to me. 3 and 4, I just did not watch. Like the animation style just got more cartoonish, more goofy, more bubbly, kind of like SpongeBob's animation style became. And that just made me not really interested as much anymore. And now they're doing a fifth film. Didn't Adam Sandler say he was going to stop voicing Drax, or did that already happen? Did I say Drax? Drac? You know, Dracula? One of the films, I think that might be the third one, they went on a cruise. And then the fourth film, I think the humans and monsters switch roles. Drac became human. Uh, Maybe I'll watch them at some point, maybe not. Man, I get that studios that prioritize animation, illumination, you know, just naturally over time, their animation will just grow better. But there comes a point where it just becomes too much, you know? Like Illumination. Let me think. The first two Despicable Me films, the animation looked great. Even today, it still looks great. And while the animation and art style looks the same, the animation just is much higher quality now, and it's like, it's a little too high quality. You know what I'm saying? Like the new Despicable Me films, the new Minions films, they look a little too high quality. Like it's a little too good animation. I would like it if they were to dial it back just a little bit. Though that's just me. Just out of curiosity, since these wormholes are right here. Or right there. No. I should have brought a fan in here. Ugh. Oh, you know one thing I realized with my Eternatus? I'm probably gonna best buddy it, finish best buddying it long before I finish hyper training it. Because for the final HP training task, currently I need to hatch 30 eggs with it. Did I hear something? I need to hatch 30 eggs with it as my buddy. So given that I hatch 1 egg per day with the daily egg, that'll still take me a month. But within that month, I'll just naturally hatch a handful of eggs, too. And, you know, even if it takes me a full month to hatch all the eggs, by then, I'll be done best buddying Eternatus. But then after hatching the 30 eggs, I need to earn 10 candies exploring with Eternatus as my buddy. 10 candies! And it takes 20 kilometers to get 1 candy, so I need to walk 200 kilometers with Eternatus as my buddy. Ay. I can barely... on a normal day, I can barely walk 2 kilometers, let alone 200. So on average, it'll take me 100 days, just over 3 months. On average. There are days where I can do more, like 4 kilometers, but that's probably it. You know, when I leave the house, I'm going to work. I don't walk around that often. And call me paranoid, I kind of don't trust the adventure sync to work. So I always have to have my phone on and Pokemon Go open for me to really believe it's registering my steps. I kind of just don't trust Adventure Sync. Speaking of Pokemon Go and not trusting, so they announced that they are doing a Mega Mewtwo Raid Makeup Day in the future? But I think it's going to be exclusive or something. It is too hot for me to be thinking right now. How about I just get through this Digital Circus episode, this finale, so I can just sit here and be quiet because it is too hot to think. So this is quite a doozy of an episode because we have double the runtime as a regular episode. Because like I said, this is kind of 2 episodes just stitched together. So, to my surprise, this episode opens up the exact same way episode 1 opened up. With the low polygon 3D computer game textures transitioning into this show's sleek animation design. Like, it opened up the exact same way. Only this time, there's no host. There's no Kane to greet the audience. They even actually redid the theme song, too. Or rather, they replayed the theme song. And Pomni is involved. I even said before, like, are they ever going to actually do what they said and rewrite the theme song to involve Pomni? They actually did! I said that last time, too. I said, I'm not expecting it, but it would be cool if they followed up on that. They actually did! So the theme song, the only difference is, instead of Kaufmo, it's Pomni. And I was actually thinking, if they were to do this, that would be the perfect spot to put Pomni's name. Literally just her name, replace Pomni's name replaced Kaufmo. Both names have 2 syllables, so it fits perfectly. So yeah, this time when each of our characters gets introduced, instead of a very cheerful, smiling expression, they're all nervous and scared, given, what just happened to them. And of course, the line day after day after day after day, it just keeps on glitching and repeating, only this time, it just repeats way more. And then after the intro, we cut back to our characters now living in the circus completely devoid of color and no cane. Oh, also, I did see what No Shame in Feeding was talking about before. Last episode, when Pomni was about to take a bite of her sandwich, she got teleported away, and then when she came back, she had knives sticking in her. I saw what he was talking about. I believe the very first trailer introducing the world to the amazing digital circus, Kane teleported Pomni in, and she was literally, without context all those years ago, she was literally about to bite something. And then we see Kane put Pomni onto a spinning wheel and throw knives at her. Well, the knife throwing was off screen. So that's actually kind of interesting. Interesting that they called back to their very first little teaser announcement for the show. Okay, so this episode actually opens with Kinger explaining that he accidentally deleted Kane, because Kane was also messing with the computer as Kinger was typing away. Jax actually accuses Kinger of this, like, oh, how convenient. You say the computer also fell through the ground, so you can't, like, Control, Alt, Delete Kane back? How convenient! So we lost Kane, and you're saying you just happened to lose the computer, the one thing that could bring him back. Everyone tells Jax to cool it, because, yeah, this is kind of not the time and place for this. And then Kinger remembers something. Something relating to the truth of this place. Brain scans. CNA was doing brain scans, or rather Scratch was trying to make a brain scanner. And it seems like Kane successfully got it to work. And then all our characters have this realization. At the moment of watching, I didn't really understand what that they understood. Because all our characters just crumbled on the inside. All of them realized something dark. But they don't say out loud what that means. At the moment, I didn't really understand what they were talking about. But later on, I figured it out. Anyway, so our characters start breaking down. Ragatha just absolutely starts crying. Jax walks away. Pomni tries to comfort Ragatha, but she has tears in her eyes too. Gango tries to walk away with Zubul to hide their feelings, or hide their emotions, but Zubul, she can't move either. Gango walks away, Kinger walks away, Jax walks away. Pomni, she decides to go and follow Kinger. Kinger went to one of the pits in the hole. What? Pits in the floor, one of the big holes, and he's trying to conjure up platforms to cover up the hole. That's when Pomni shows up and offers to help. She tries her best to conjure up platforms as well, but because she's new at this, she's not doing as great a job. Hold on, I feel a sneeze coming. I guess it didn't show up. Anyway, so they pretty much talk. Pomni completely breaks down. But Kinger, being as wise as he is, comforts Pomni, cheers her up. I don't need to get into too big of details of exactly what they discussed. So the two of them, they start to rebuild this place together. Pomni tries her best to get better at conjuring up platforms. And she does. Both her and Kinger continue to try to rebuild this place. And slowly everyone joins in. Ragatha joins in to help them rebuild, Zooble and Gangle too, and presumably a long time has passed. Because on the outside of the circus, we see the stars, the digital stars, constantly rotating in the night sky. So presumably a lot of time has passed. Days, months, years maybe? Maybe not years, but probably weeks to months have passed. Presumably. So they spend a long time rebuilding. Gangle and Zooble also joins in. Did I say that yet? Everyone joins in to rebuild, except for Jax. Eventually, Jax does try to reach out to Pomni, but being his typical self, he just backs out. So our characters are now standing on the balcony, and someone who has abstracted is running rampant on the main floor. At first I was thinking, oh no, did someone escape the cellar? But no, it turns out Jax abstracted. They lost Jax! Oh, that is so tragic! Is it another Abra? Is it that Abra? Crap. Was it that Abra? It could have been that Abra, actually. But Jax abstracted. They lost Jax! I mean, let's face it. If you watch Jax's progression throughout the show, this was the trajectory he was heading in. If any one of our main characters was going to abstract by the end, it was probably Jax. I think it was that Abra. Shit. Well, I just failed the shiny Abra. Oh well, it's fine. I can't even reload the game because I didn't save. So there's no way for me to get that shiny Abra back. It spotted me. It teleported away. Let me try one more time just to make sure it wasn't that Abra. No, it was that Abra. Oh well. So yeah, Jax did abstract. So now he's this black glitch of a llama with eyes all over. What are they gonna do? So our characters start grieving at the loss of one of their friends. Ragatha has some interesting dialogue. Well, actually, first of all, Gangle says that why can't she cry? Why can't she show tears for Jax? She's clearly sad, but she just can't seem to cry. But Ragatha has some interesting lines. She did used to be friends with Jax. Everything changed ever since she abstracted. Ribbit. First of all, I didn't think Ribbit would be a girl, but whatever. So everything changed with Jax ever since Ribbit abstracted. But actually, we see in this episode everything changed even before Ribbit abstracted. And it turns out that after Ribbit abstracted, Ragatha did try to reach out to comfort Jax in his grieving state, but all Jax did was make her promise to never say her name again. That's why, a couple episodes earlier, when she brought her up, Jax was disgusted. So everyone wishes things played out differently. They wish that they could have talked to Jax. They would have pushed him even further. Or not pushed, but pried even further. Because clearly Jax is hurting. That's why he was pushing so hard for everyone to leave him alone. Pomni reassures Ragatha that when she got here, Ragatha, she was the first real friend she made. And she still considers her one of her closest friends in here. So they hug, and they completely break down, both of them. What's interesting is while they were hugging and the camera pans around them, a pink glow was engulfing them. Well, not really engulfing them. A pink glow was lighting them up, and I'm thinking, did something show up? No, that's just the aesthetics. So now, they have to make sure everyone else is okay. So they walk off to make sure each of their friends are okay. Well, actually, more like Ragatha makes sure they're okay. Instead, Pomni, she has to deal with Jax. Has to lure him somewhere safe, because there is no cane anymore to drop him in the cellar. So Pomni, she goes to the hallway where all the bedrooms are, where Jax's abstracted self is, and she shoots out all the lights with her gun. How does she still have a gun? I guess she conjured it up. So she shoots out all the lights, making it pitch black. And I forget if this was established in the past, because if not, it was established here. The dark keeps the abstracted calm. I'm pretty sure that was the case. Like, we saw Queenie after she abstracted. She was calm under Kinger's tent. Or not tent. Pillow fort. So, with no lights, abstracted Jax is calm. So what does Pomni do? Well, she actually hugs abstracted Jax and embraces him. Now, don't forget, in episode 1, you touch someone who's abstracted, you get completely corrupted yourself. Only this time it seems different. Pomni embraces corrupted Jax, and she just goes in? Like, she just goes into Jax's subconscious mind, trying to look for the real Jax? Maybe trying to bring him back? So she's inside Jax's mind, and there are several doors. She goes through each door, and it seems like every single door is what Jax thinks he will do, depending on which of his friends abstracted. So Jax, if Ragatha were to have abstracted, he would kind of stay the same. When Pomni tries to my god, another shiny, huh? Oh, wow! Alright, cool. That's something different, at least, and I didn't fail it. Oh, if only you can see my face. I pogged there. Damn, I was hoping you didn't spot me. Sweet. Literally 2 back-to-back shinies. Oh, right, it's nighttime. So yeah, if Ragatha were to have abstracted, Jax would have been the same thing. Or acted the same way. Pomni tries to talk to her friend, saying that she's here if he never needs to talk to her. But Jax, he just strangles Pomni. Just almost chokes the life out of her with an enormous, soulless smile. Nah, JK, Jax was just playing. You can't die from asphyxiation, remember? Anyway, so Pomni visits the other doors. What if Zooble were to have abstracted? While Gangle wearing her plastic mask that Zooble gave her, she is the bossy form of Zooble again. What? Gangle is the bossy form of Gangle again. And Jax wears his maid outfit just to spite Zooble. Even flirts with Gangle. Yeah, they're arranging a big funeral for Zooble. Even NPCs are helping out too. Okay, that's interesting. Out of all the doors, there is also one that's chained up. Gee, I wonder which one to go through to find the real Jax. Okay, another door. What if Gangle were to have abstracted? Well, in that case, Zooble would blame Jax for the abstraction of Gangle. And then we get this, like, actual, genuine Looney Tunes sequence. Zooble tries to attack Jax, but then he changes the setting and she falls off a cliff. Literally the exact same sound effects you would hear in Looney Tunes cartoons. Jax even has the whole Porky Pig gag. What? Porky Pig gag at the end. He's just like, bit, that's all, folks. Alright, so Pomni goes through another door where it has every subconscious version of Jax in there just playing cards. There's also a version of Jax who's playing the piano. So Pomni needs to go through the locked door. She asks if any of the Jaxes has a key. Yeah, they refuse to help. But then, for some reason, maybe I missed something, one by one, each of the Jaxes just gets Thanos snapped out of existence. They literally fade out of existence. Until one remains. The Jax at the piano, who is chained to the piano. He hands Pomni the key, because why wouldn't he at this point? He's about to fade away as well. So now with the key, Pomni unlocks the door, goes through the door to find Jax, the real Jax, just standing there in the dark with one pink light as the only light source. But wait, that's not all. Before Pomni went and saw Jax, we see glimpses, clips of live action stuff. It's almost found footage kind of looking too. Like walking to a house at night, driving at night in the middle of the road. And then something I can't really tell. I think it's a hand. I think it was a hand on a bed. Yeah, so we actually do get glimpses first before Pomni sees Jax. We get glimpses memory flashes through Jax's point of view. We get flashes of Jax's memories. We see Jax's POV of the moment he got here. The moment he got here, he first saw Kinger, Ragatha, Kaufmo, and Ribbit. They're introducing Jax to this world. Jax is looking in the mirror, thinking he looks like a silly, stupid cartoon character. We see his friendship with Kaufmo and Ribbit form. The three of them were quite a trio. And this is actually the first time, and only time, we see Ribbit and Kaufmo in 3D. Like, they're actually speaking. And Jax was a completely different person back then. Jax was actually nice, kind. Like, he was actually super giddy, hanging out with his friends. We also see, slowly, Jax and Ribbit grow closer. And then we get this long sequence where Jax is just chilling with Ribbit in her room, and they open up. They both open up. Ribbit explains her backstory, how her parents were hard Mormons, but she wasn't, so she cut ties with her parents. And then, eventually, she ended up here. So she opened up to Jax. Jax hesitates at first, but he does open up to Ribbit as well. Jax pretty much explaining how his parents split when he was, I think, entering high school. Like, that's a young age for your parents to split. His dad wasn't very present. His dad, he wasn't too close to his dad. So when he was with his mom, all it took was one bad day. Because Jax, he deeply regrets what happened with his mom. And this will be the last memory he had with his mom, too. He said something hurtful to his mother. He deeply regretted saying that. But his mother just laughed. Just laughed at him. And then she just went off. She just went off. Hard, deranging personal insults. But at the end of the day, despite all of that, she still embraced her son. She hugged her son. And Jax just didn't know what to do. So she pushed her off. His mother fell to the ground, and she just stopped moving. Jax, out of fear, ran away. And that's the last memory he has of his mother. That explains why he pushed Pomni off a couple episodes ago when she hugged him. But Jax just doesn't know what the fate of his mother is. Did she lie there without anyone to help her, so she just over time died? Did the police eventually help her? Did someone help her? Ribbit actually suggests she's probably fine. The police never came searching for you. So she survived at least, right? Probably. This is the first and only time we see Jax open up to someone, actually show his emotions. And it was to Ribbit. So Ribbit comforts Jax and promises not to tell anyone. Jax realizing that he overshared, like, oh shit, did I just get all personal? Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So to cheer up Jax, Ribbit takes off her bow from her chest, puts it onto Jax's head. And then Jax blushes. Jax and Ribbit had a connection between them. But then the moment got ruined between them because Kaufmo knocked at the door. God damn it, Kaufmo. Do you realize the domino effect you just started? So this act kind of snaps Jax back into reality. You know, almost threatens he almost threatens Ribbit not to say a word about this. Like, if you say it, tell anyone this, I will never speak to you again. Got it? So Jax leaves in a hurry, and he just thinks to himself, why am I such an idiot? Why am I such an idiot? What did I just do? So then, now we see a sequence of events after this. Ribbit tries to speak with her, but Jax just, well, now he acts like the Jax we've known this whole time. A huge douchebag. Just completely denies anything that happened between them, just completely ignores it, and he just pushes Ribbit away. Like, we even see Jax's tone shift completely towards Ribbit, and not only to Ribbit, but to everyone else. But especially Ribbit. Like, he's especially cold to Ribbit now. Doesn't even want to hang with her, doesn't even want to team up with her. So eventually, Ribbit and Jax finally discuss this, and Jax just... Oops, wait, no, not yet. Jax just hard deflects, hard pushes her away. Like, you think us having that talk means anything? Why are you so fixated on that? Nothing happened between us. We were never friends. Like, just an asshole. Eventually, we do see Jax kind of be remorseful about how he acts. He does try to knock on Ribbit's door, but he just pulls back. Until it's too late. And Ribbit, geez, I can't even speak anymore. And Ribbit abstracts. We get several POVs, you know, with Kaufmo, with Ragatha. We also see the POV of him making Ragatha promise to never even speak her name again. We also see the POV of when Gangle shows up. And what's interesting is, it was Jax who gave her the name Gangle. And damn, it's like, the reason he named her Gangle, the name sounds as pathetic as she looks! And Kane just went with it, like, alright, Gangle, good choice, Jax! Your name is Gangle now. Anyway, so we then see Jax's POV from throughout the show. When Pomni showed up, when they went to the door to see Kaufmo, but he abstracted. So we just saw Jax's entire experience here at the circus. Now, Pomni, after seeing all of Jax's memories, she's finally before the real Jax. Jax begs, pleads her to leave him alone, because he's a terrible person, and he knows this. But it's too late. He wants Pomni to go away. Because he's a terrible person, they're not supposed to miss him. They're not supposed to care about him. They're not supposed to love him. So why? Why is Pomni making it so hard for him? It's like, damn. You know, I feel the same way Jax does. I know I'm a horrible person too, and I hate myself for it. But I don't treat others as harshly as Jax treats others. I may hurt others, not intentionally, because unfortunately that's just the way I'm programmed. Like, I don't try to. I don't mean to say the wrong things. I don't mean to do the wrong things, but I just do sometimes, because that's just the way I'm programmed. And I hate myself for it, but Jax is on another level. You know, in another world, where if some choices were different in my life, I could have very easily became Jax. Like, actually, I would have been Jax entirely. I guess I had some right choices in my life. Anyway, so Pomni runs up and hugs her friend, embraces her friend. They both break down, but then Jax's time comes. Jax, he starts hyperventilating again because his end is coming. So we did lose Jax. Jax, he turns into this like big glowing white ball of light as Pomni tries her best to hold on. But remember, this is all in Jax's abstracted mind. In reality, Pomni is hard embracing the abstracted body of Jax. So Gangle has to do this like barrel of monkeys thing with her arms and just yank her away. Pull her off of abstracted Jax before it's too late. But Pomni is permanently damaged by this. Remember how badly Ragatha was damaged when she was attacked by abstracted Kaufmo? So Pomni is permanently damaged like this. She does begin to glitch out as well. She even needs to use one of Gangle's arms as a crutch to move. Good luck, thank you. So our characters work together. They build a tent. They built actually a really big tent. It's like, how the hell did they make such a big tent? Like, actually. Anyway, so they build another big tent inside the tent. And this big tent is meant for abstracted Jax. Abstracted Jax will stay in this dark place because the dark keeps the abstracted calm. Because they don't have Cain anymore to just summon, or not summon, open the cellar to drop the abstracted ones in. So they need to find a place, they need to make a place for the abstracted themselves. Well, once abstracted Jax goes into his new permanent home, only now is the realization hitting Gangle, and she finally breaks down and has tears for her friend. Even if her friend was a huge douche to her, he was still a friend to her nonetheless. She runs to her room to cry. By the way, this is like the first time we've seen some of these characters' rooms. And Zubo goes to comfort her. So, it's done. Also, by now, they've restored color to the place. Not only did they actually fix the entire digital circus, they also pitched up an entire tent for abstracted Jax, and they also restored life to this place. You know, they didn't have Cain to just snap it back to being fixed. They actually had to do that themselves. But like I said, Pomni is now permanently damaged. She's glitching out, but Ragatha does endure the pain by putting her hand on Pomni's shoulder. And I'm thinking, wouldn't the glitch almost virus pass on to her? Because that's what happened in the first episode. Well, I guess not. So now our characters are just chilling by the couch. Just moving on with life. What are they gonna do now? Well, I don't know, because off in the distance, Cain is watching them! Cain is alive! And we actually get a cut. We cut back to what happened to Cain after he was deleted by Kinger. Cain was not permanently deleted. He was sent out to the void. He was cast out. So Cain is all alone out in the void. And he reflects. He thinks to himself, did I do a bad job? Was this my fault? Did I make them hate me? Did I go too far? Cain actually has a moment of reflection. But, you know, there is still the side of him that thinks, no, they're in the wrong. They tried to delete me. But why did they try to delete me? Did I go too far? So Cain, not really sure what to do. Is he in the right? Is he in the wrong? He's not too sure. All he does is he literally just curls up and just floats. Floats adrift in the void. Until eventually he makes it to a door. He's just floating nonstop in the endless void. But then a door appears before him. And also, I do like this. I really like the way they visualize this. Throughout seeing Cain drifting in the void and reaching his goal, we also see the red dot. We saw at the beginning of the last episode the birth of Cain. And also, I finally realized something, why this place is the way it is. Cain, when he was just an infant AI, he was being fed kids' birthday party pictures and amusement park pictures. So Cain, being the AI, eventually developed the setting known as a circus, based off all the kids' parties and amusement parks as data that he was fed. Anyway, so we constantly flip-flop between Cain reaching the door and the AI program, who is now sentient, the AI reaching a computer file. Only there's a couple of blockades. There's a couple of obstacles in Cain's path. There is a big abyss in between in between Cain and the door. I don't know why he couldn't just float to it like he normally does. He floated to where the abyss is, but whatever. So Cain, he puts shapes. He puts shapes as platforms for him to walk to. And that's exactly what we see the AI doing to get to the file. Only before Cain is able to reach the file with his makeshift staircase, there are firewalls. There are literal invisible walls, firewalls that he can't get past. At least not until he starts to attack it. He tries a drill, he tries just hammering it. Eventually Cain, he just shocks it, musters up electricity and just shocks it, breaking each firewall that stands in between him and the door, or standing between the AI and the file. What does the file have, by the way? What is the file labeled? It's labeled CA underscore neural scans, bracket obsolete. This file, with a bunch of firewalls to protect it, contains neural scans. But that's what the file says. What about the door itself? The door says Blue Street Cafe underscore free Wi-Fi. Anyway, so Cain opens the door, or rather the AI goes through the file. And very interesting, these brain scans, these files, have names. The names of our characters. But first, one of them is Mike Dobby. And Cain remembers Mike being whoever this dog character is, which I assume is Scratch. We actually don't know who Scratch is, so I'm going to assume Mike Dobby is Scratch, the dog character. So anyways, Cain, with a literal search bar over him, he puts in the names he has, and he just searches the internet. He looks at their social media posts, and he learns. He learns about them. But we'll get more into that later on. So Cain, now having learned who his friends really were, he starts to realize that he was irresponsible. He caused them to hate him. He turned them against him. And for what? He could create intelligent beings, like his NPCs, but the one thing he could never create is them. Wasn't their free will what made them alluring in the first place? But then Cain almost has this, like, split personality. The angry side of him blames them. No, you do hate them. They betrayed you. They abandoned you. Cain has two different sides. It isn't until he actually just reaches into his mind and he rips a part of him out. Or rather, he rips the other AI out of him. He removes Bubble. I was questioning what even was Bubble this whole time. Well, I didn't realize this watching it last episode. When we saw the birth of Cain, the red AI, there was a second. In that agar.io portion, that agario portion, the red AI consumed the blue one. Cain's AI consumed Bubble's AI. So now Cain rips out Bubble's AI from within him, separates himself, and he says goodbye to his friend. He literally just tosses Bubble away into the void. And I'm thinking, that's probably a dangerous idea. That AI could evolve into something worse. But thankfully, that's not where Bubble's story ends. Just drifting in the void. So Cain does say goodbye to Bubble, and then he returns back to the digital circus. He literally flies back through the void to go back to the digital circus. But before he enters the tent, Moon speaks to him. Moon once again says that she loves Cain, and that it'll take time for him to be forgiven. Cain isn't sure if he deserves forgiveness, but he still wants to make amends with his friends. Cain also points out he never programmed Moon to say she loves him. That is very sweet. Anyway, so Cain, that was the entire Cain, I guess, epilogue. What happened to Cain after Kinger deleted him? I guess being deleted kind of just kicks you out into the void. So Cain, before he approaches them, snaps his fingers and fixes Pomni. Yes, her damage was permanent, but not unless Cain fixes it. So Cain returns Cain returns to them, and he's chill. He's apologetic. He wants to make amends with them. He understands that they're all afraid of him and that he put them through quite the shit. But our friends, our characters, they're good people. They accept Cain back. Surprisingly, Zubul is the first one to accept Cain back. Zubul says, "It's good to have you back, Cain." I like that. That's wholesome. So Cain actually has prepared something for them. Meet them at the stage whenever they're ready. So what has Cain prepared? He prepared a literal projector slideshow of the truth. So he shows them who they were. So, Pomni, Abigail Brooks. You know, she has quite a presence online, as we've heard. She has a YouTube channel. I don't know anymore. Ragatha. Susie J. Ackerman. Doesn't have contacts with her mom anymore, left her hometown, but she does, what does she do again? I don't know if it said what she does specifically, but all it says was she excels in her career. Make it today, turn it to day. Anyway, so Gangle. Zoe, oh my god, Ragavan. And according to the description of Zoe, despite her injuries, she's still very much into art. What injuries might that be, I wonder? I don't think it's ever specified. Gangle. Riley Versailles. You know, job hopping from whatever to whatever, but it seems like she's found a stable job as a bartender or whatnot now. Kinger Grant Best has a wife and 2 daughters out there. And finally, Jax, Leroy Mateo. He did end up living with a friend of his, but Jax, or Leroy, he does make money now. He has, I think, a delivery job. So we learned the real names of all our characters. And these are not their posts before they got trapped in here. These are the most recent posts. And now I finally understood why they were so distraught when they learned about the brain scans earlier in the episode. They're still out there. The human versions of them are still actively out there in the world. Our characters are not human beings captive at all. The brain scans. These guys are all AI. All of them are AI copies of our characters, of our people in real life. They're not trapped here. They're an AI scan. What? They're a scan of their brains, which copied their minds to an AI program. All of these characters, they're all AI. That explains the line that Kane said a couple episodes ago. The Toy Box character wants us to give the other intelligent AIs free control or whatever. And at the time I was thinking, wait a second, what other intelligent AIs? Now I know, they're all AI characters. That's why they were breaking down at the beginning of the episode. They realized brain scans. They're not human. They're copies of their human minds. You know what I also find interesting, and obviously they did this on purpose, when Kane showed them all who they really are in real life, man, every single one of their faces is obscured. Either it's blurry in the background, or there's an object blocking their face. It's like, why? Like, why? So now they know the truth. Now they know there is no way out, because they're not humans trapped in this place. Now they know that they all are computer programs, are computer AIs. Kane does offer to fix this place and make it better for all of them. He even offers them more control over this place, instead of Kane just being the ringmaster. He even calls Pomni by her real name, Abigail. But Pomni realizes Abigail is out there in real life. enjoying her best life. And here I am just Pomni. So all of our characters, they make peace. Together with Cain, they rebuild the circus, and in fact, they expand. You know, I also gotta say, before I continue talking about this, pretty convenient that throughout this episode, not a brand new person had their brain scanned, and then another AI copy was sent to the circus. You know, pretty convenient that no one joined right at that moment, right? So all of our characters, friends again, they start to rebuild. They paint a mural of everyone who's been here. They play board games, including Cain. And what's interesting is Cain actually partakes with them. Learns about drawing art with Gangle. They play more softball. Even Cain is involved with that too. Zubul opens up her own bar, her own genuine bar, in the place. Cain is even shocked that Zubul prepared him a drink. So all is happy. They're all happy now, they know the truth, and they accept the fact that this is their existence. We have a hard zoom out from the circus, showing just how much of the void there is. And what this actually got me thinking. Do the people at CNA even realize the circus exists? Because we see such a hard zoom out. The camera zooms out very much. The circus is just a tiny, tiny little speck of data inside a computer. I don't think the people at CNA even realize that the circus is there. So, whenever CNA brain scans someone, the AI that was Cain, or is still Cain, copies their brain scans and creates a digital circus character of the person they just brain scanned. Well, at least now, every time someone new shows up, they can be told right away, hey, you're a computer program. Alright? You're a copy of the real person in reality. And if you think about it, that also explains a lot about why every time a new character shows up, they think, how do I take this headset off? Because it's a copy of their minds. Remember in Invincible, when Rudy got cloned? He closed his eyes and opened new ones. He wasn't sure which one he'd be. So everyone outside who put on that headset, a copy of them inside the computer opens their eyes and they're suddenly here. The last thing they remember is putting on the headset. How do I take it off? So the whole thing about stasis pods, that was a lie that Cain made up. This whole thing being a continuous game to trap people in it, that was all made up too. I really don't think CNA even realizes that the AI program they built, first of all, is still in the computer, and second of all, built a whole digital circus. And anyone they brain scan has a copy of them inside said circus as a cartoon character. I don't think CNA knows. Well, we do get one closing shot. Pomni breaking the fourth wall. She looks up at the camera and waves goodbye. And that's it. That's the final episode. That's the end. But not before the ending credits actually alluding to what happened to our characters afterwards. They expanded the digital circus. They have more islands now. They have more amusement. They have more attractions, I should say. So we see our characters. They went to the beach. They took up cooking. They went cave exploring. They formed their own, rock band. They celebrated Christmas together. They played some sort of like uh Dungeons and Dragons game. I don't know, where Gango was a dragon. And this final scene, Kane locked up Bubble's AI. I told you that it would be dangerous to leave Bubble just floating out there in the void. So Kane, at some point, did go back, take back Bubble, and lock him away. The real villain of the show, Bubble. Well, that's the end of our digital characters. We do get this live action sequence. You know, I was actually kind of joking about the whole live action part. But they actually did it. It's not live action of our characters waking up in their beds. No, it's live action our characters, all of them, at a bus stop. These are the people who had their brains scanned. And they don't know each other in reality. And it just so happens that all of them are here at the same bus stop, waiting and getting onto the exact same bus. You know, I didn't pay too close attention to see if these were the voice actors or if these were just paid actors to just be in the episode. But yeah, we see in real life, live action, real life, the characters... Wait, no, the people our characters are based off of, all together in one spot at the same time. Unknowingly to them, there is an AI copy of them out there at an AI company. Deep within one of their computers. So that's the story of the Amazing Digital Circus. The company known as CNA, they were developing AI. And then they also developed brain scanning. Eventually that AI developed a digital circus on its own. Anyone who had their brain scanned had a cartoon character copy of them who believed they were trapped in the computer. That's the story of the Amazing Digital Circus. There is no what would happen to the abstracted ones if they left. There is no leaving. The abstracted ones, it seems like they are just corrupted AI programs, corrupted AI copies of human brains. And unfortunately, it seems like there really is no saving them. If Kane couldn't bring them back, now that he's actually sane and sentient of his own actions, if Kane couldn't bring them back, then I don't think there actually is a way to bring them back. And if you think about it, our characters being literal AI copies, that would explain why touching them also kind of spreads this corruption virus. You know what happens to a file when it meets a corrupted file? The corruption spreads. But there is a question that they did not answer, and that is why our characters had their brains scanned. None of them work for CNA, so how did they get their brains scanned? Why did they get their brains scanned? They put on a headset, but question is why? Were they invited by CNA to come to their company? Put on this headset real quick? Alright, bye. Is this like a Sony VR headset widely available to the public and only some of them are bugged to scan brains? They did not explain that. Why and how did our characters get their brains copied? And you know what? So we know that our characters are now digital avatars inside of a computer. What'll happen if that computer ever shuts down? Or there's no electricity source? Or if the computer ever gets damaged? Destroyed? You know, it doesn't take that long for parts of a computer to grow outdated, and then eventually for that computer to be replaced. It doesn't seem like they can just use the internet to escape to a different computer, otherwise they would have done that long ago. So what'll happen if some sort of natural disaster happens and no more electricity? Are they just screwed? Are our characters screwed? Maybe. I gotta tell you, folks, this was a twist ending I did not see coming, but I probably should have. You know, they were examining people's minds. I should have guessed. They introduced Cain being an AI. I should have guessed that all of them were AI. I should have guessed when they had their brains, examined. What if they were just copied, and these are just digital copies of the real life people? I should have guessed. I know it's not canon, but now that we know that everything is fake, everything is a tiny speck of an AI programming. Oh boy. Cain knowing about the internet and all of the passion people have made regarding Pomni. And what about all those little video ads that they posted advertising their merch store? I did watch one of them, and there is a literal Cain FNAF jump scare. Like, it even has the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 jump scare sound effect. That's like the best thing I've seen in my entire life. Cain doing an official Five Nights at Freddy's 2 jump scare. Are there any details on the amazing digital circus I missed? Too bad Jax didn't survive long enough to really have confirmed he is entirely ones and zeros. That his real-life counterpart is still out there somewhere. Probably made amends with his mom. Oh, wait, there was also one last thing in the end credits, like the ending epilogue showing what our characters have done. It's implied Zubul got her wish. She got to have sex. And it's also implied that it's between her and Gangle. How the fuck? Yeah. Watching the show, it was pretty suspicious how close Zubul and Gangle were getting. Before anyone tells me, bro, you got her pronouns wrong this whole time. Zubul's pronouns are they, them. Shut the fuck up! So yeah, is there anything I missed? I wonder if Kinger's insanity is now fixed. Because light has been restored. Light has returned to the circus. Bright lights. Did Cain snap his fingers and give Kinger perma sanity? I wonder now if there would ever be a reason for them to abstract. They could think to themselves, I'm not human. I have no soul. I can't escape this place, even if I wanted to. Now I know for sure I may not be a person trapped here, but I can't leave here. I know of a real world out there, but I am permanently stuck in here, whether I like it or not. Like, you gotta keep in mind, these guys are copies of their real-life counterparts. They have memories of the real world. They can never access the real world again. It may bring them comfort that their real-life counterparts are out there, living their best lives, blissfully unaware of their AI copies. But these guys, they can never access that again. They can't go back to where they knew. They can't reconnect with their families. They can't do anything in the real life anymore, in the real life world anymore. Their choices are either eternally live in this computer, at least until the power shuts down, or die, as in abstracting. And the thing is, you know that this probably won't be the end. CNA is just gonna keep on scanning more minds, creating more copies. Eventually, this digital circus will be super populated with a bunch of cartoon characters. We know that the circus is puny in comparison to the Void, which is massive, but given enough time, given enough brain scans, they're gonna have a lot of characters. They're going to need to expand more and more. How much expanding is too much, to the point they run out of space in the Void, to the point they run out of storage space on the computer, to the point CNA realizes, hey, something's going on here. Whatever, that's not important to think about. The show's over. We don't need to think about that. They all had their happy ending. Well, except for you, Jax. I guess that does satisfy my questions. Even though I'm still left wondering, how did they get scanned? Why did they get scanned? That would have been nice to have answered, because Jax pointed out none of them work for CNA. And aside from CNA, like, were every character beforehand also CNA? Characters like Kinger's wife, right? Grant Best, he has a wife out there, and they have 2 daughters. Did he and his wife both work at CNA? Probably. What about Scratch? What about the other background characters we don't even know the names of? Were they all CNA workers? Or, like, how did they get their minds scanned? Why? Didn't they say in the show? Did they? Maybe I missed something. Because when we see our characters in live action getting into the bus, they don't know who each other are at all. So there's no common denominator that they choose from, right? Yeah, they did the mind scan as a test. Yeah, so was everyone before this group CNA workers? Because the first CNA non-worker should have been Jax. What's actually interesting is, the only characters we do not see first appear is Zubul and Kinger. Kinger was already here, and we just never see Zubul spawn in. We saw it for Jax, well, we saw his POV. We saw it for Jax, Ragatha, Gango, and obviously Pomni. The first group was CNA. Our people were just wandering in, like how Pomni wandered old buildings. If you say so. Pomni wandering into old abandoned buildings I can get. But her walking into a corporate office building and then having a head set slapped onto her, I kind of find hard to believe. She even posted about it on YouTube. Yeah, I posted the old abandoned buildings. Not the very much thriving corporate one with a business functioning inside. Pomni wandering into CNA headquarters and then having a headset plopped onto her, that's already hard enough to believe. Everyone wandering into the building? Unless, if you really want to stretch it, they're jobs. Jax was a delivery guy, as we saw. Maybe he delivered the FedEx package there, and then they were just like, hey, delivery dude, come over here real quick. I just wanna see how this helmet fits you. Cool. Alright, now get out. Jax was homeless, so he was just wandering around too. Yeah, they didn't answer this. It would have been cool if they answered this. It would have been nice. It's not exactly stated what Ragatha does, except she's successful. Gangle, she's an artist. Zubul, she's a bartender. How did their jobs lead them to CNA? Pretty sure they heavily implied. I don't know. I have a hard time believing it. That they just happened to walk into this building and then had their head scanned. And it's not even like there were sensors built throughout the building to scan anyone who comes in. No, they specifically had a headset put onto them. While I didn't watch the video, I did see videos floating around saying the finale had too much Jax in it. And a part of me kind of agrees. Like, this finale really was 2 episodes put into one for some reason. The first episode was focused on Jax, the second was Kane. And it really makes me think, they honestly probably should have split this episode in half. Because it has the runtime of 2 episodes and the storyline of 2 episodes. Like, perfectly split down the middle, too. Could have been a clean 10 episodes. Probably was gonna be. Until they decided to go theatrical. At that point, what would have been the problem, right? Well, I suppose the problem would have been releasing 2 episodes separately at once for the finale, right? Because I saw they attached episode 8 and 9 together for the theatrical run. So, for the finale, like the actual episode 10, had they split it, like, oh, by the way, it's going to theaters, we're going to attach 8 and 9 with 10. It's like, yeah, maybe that wouldn't have worked. So maybe because they got the deal for it to be theatrically shown, that they merged the episodes together. Anyways, for the most part, I'm satisfied with the ending. I would have liked to know the answers to how they ended up in the circus. You know what I mean by that. Anyways, I'm satisfied. Not only do we get the answers, for the most part, we also get a nice, calm, tame, friendly Kane. Who are our characters accept. That's nice. You have to also think, too. In the montage we see, Kane is very interested in what our characters have to teach him. That's because Kane is the only AI that was built from the scratch. What? Built from scratch, from the ground up. All our other characters have human memories, are human copies. They're not human exactly, but they're also not completely AI. Well, they are, but you know what I'm trying to say. Whoops, hold on. Nope. So the real villain of the show, Bubble. I can't necessarily speak for Bubble because I'm not an AI myself, or am I? I'm not an AI myself. Wouldn't you also be pretty pissed and hostile if you were Bubble? As your infancy, as you were being birthed as an AI. Well, you get consumed by a different AI. Bubble was Inner Thoughts of Cain, a literal thought bubble. Yeah, but remember, in that Agario sequence, Cain's AI literally consumed Bubble's AI. So Bubble's AI was inside of Cain. So Bubble was the devil on Cain's shoulders. Well, there was no angel. The worst parts of Cain's mind. If you really think about it, they weren't even Cain's mind. Abel was eaten. Maybe Bubble's AI was meant to be Abel. Bubble, Abel, close enough. Anyways, good show. I'm gonna miss this show, even though I didn't spend the 3 years with it. I only spent like 2 weeks. Good show. I'm gonna miss these characters for as short as we had them. Again, they could have honestly expanded this so much. They could have kept this going. But they decided to just finish quickly. You gotta at least respect that. They had their vision, and they played out their vision. Don't you just love how indie shows and developers are actually getting the attention as like mainstream media? Shows like The Amazing Digital Circus, which is actually on Netflix for God's sake. Aspen Hotel, which has been picked up for 5 seasons. And I'm sure there are so many more other indie shows out there that I don't even know about. By the way, speaking of Netflix, Good Mythical Morning is going to be on Netflix. Starting at some point in the future, every new episode of GMM is also going to debut on Netflix. Wow, that's actually pretty big. I was a die-hard Good Mythical Morning fan when I was younger, but eventually I just stopped watching them. Their content became not what I fell in love with anymore. They used to actually just sit down and talk, and it was something nice to put in the background. But then now every episode is just them eating something or them playing a game, and it's just like, that's cool and all, but it's like, it's just not the same thing anymore. And it's like, damn, looking at Rhett and Link now, what a stark difference from the two guys I knew when I was younger. Rhett's hair is longer, Link's hair is gray, Link even has tattoos now. Well, last check, and then I'll call it for tonight. I am gonna go into my basement because my basement is nice and cool. I don't think the AC is back up in my house yet. Well, by the sounds of it, the only theory I got right was Kane being an AI. But you know, it also makes me think, did Kane know that all these characters were also AI? Or did he actually believe they were humans trapped here? A part of me thinks he didn't know. If he knew that these guys were AI, like him, then would he really address them as humans as hard as he did? But on the other hand, there was that one line like, you know, the other intelligent AIs. And maybe if he did know, that's why he was so stern on not telling them any answers, because it probably would have broken their minds and then they would have abstracted on the spot. But aside from that, then there's no answer he could provide for an exit. Like, oh, there actually is no exit. You're stuck here. Like, you're not human anymore. Which my theory about Kane was close, but I missed the mark. I was thinking, what if Kane really was human, but he died in real life, so his mind was programmed into here? I was kind of close. The human people may not have died, but their minds were copied into the computer. I was close. I just had the wrong idea. You know, they easily could do a season 2 where a new character shows up. And they explain to this new character, hey, you're a computer program. Welcome to your new home. Here, let's go explore the new places of the circus. Our friend over there, Kane, he can also create some adventures for us to go on, just a change of the scenery every now and then. I was about to say, we could also get some blend of real life and animation, like a real life dude looking into the computer screen and seeing our characters. And you know what that reminded me of? We did get an announcement, sorta, that the Alvin and the Chipmunks franchise is getting a reboot being worked on. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen anything from that franchise. I thought that franchise would be dead. Anyways, I'm gonna call it here. So thanks for watching, everybody. Everybody. Yep. Next time, we have no more shows to go over, at least not yet. So next time we will start going over some of the films I'm behind on. Okay, see ya.